Alrighty guys, we have gotten our, I broke that yesterday. Well, so we parked it in here. I'm wearing a red, two different reds for Valentine's Day. Finger, there it is. So it was parked in here after we got done with it at the cabin on Saturday. So I didn't get to film Saturday. It was kind of loud and drunken and not really fun. So I have one clip of this. We had two guys sitting on the back, one guy driving, and one or two more guys on the front, and it plowed through snow right up till the floorboards hit. Actually more than that, because it had 3 or 4 foot of snow pushing out ahead. And it was pretty warm that day, so it was wet and it was terrible. I didn't think much of it until I walked around the front and stood on the pile of snow, and I didn't even sink in. It was packed down that hard. So it put in a ton of work Saturday. Reed came over to borrow it. I drove it on the back of his truck down here on the driveway, and it bent the tab on the ramp, and the four-wheeler fell down. I fell off too, but instead of being like every redneck ever and landing under it, I grabbed the handlebars and swung it around. And in doing that, it landed on the tire and bent the wheel really badly. It was actually hitting the shock tower. There's enough of a mark, there's even a mark on the shock tower where the rim was eating it. So thankfully, I was really worried about that, but Reed helped me fix it. So it's straight within like 1/8 of an inch. Gotta remember there's a little play in the wheel bearing, so it's probably as good or better as it came from factory. So we're happy with that. The only thing is, the next day, Sunday, I was going to go out and take a rip in the trails until Reed came over. He came over to do a little work on the Skidoo, try and get that back in order. He had the misfortune of being on the Skidoo when it died, so we're kind of working on that. So before he came, I decided to give this a fire, which it wouldn't fire because it was frozen. It wouldn't crank because the stator or the engine was frozen. Over here where the pull start is, there's enough water in that cover where it'll freeze right up solid and won't crank. So I did kind of what I'm doing now, and I put the heater on it and heated up the side and got it to crank, but it never fired. So instead, we took the Arctic Cat out. And if you want to know what happened to that, go watch yesterday's video. So I ended up, instead of being proactive and working on something productive, I wrecked 2 four-wheelers just like that. So today's mission is get this girl heated up enough to work on it, which is dripping now. That's good. And then we're going to pull the plastic chain cover and the engine cover. I was in there before and got the what's it called, the pull rope fixed. So I'm very happy. We didn't blow up a transmission, didn't wreck a CV shaft, we didn't wreck the belt or anything. This 425 is a hoss, man. It's taken everything. So Leroy gave me the order to see if there's a drain port on that, because going in the creek and then back out again, it needs to drain itself. We're not collecting sap because it's 10-15 degrees out, and it's kind of snowing again. I think if we got 3 inches of snow, it's really hard to have a snow that stays on the trail with it being so dry and cold. Oh, we got a bunch of dirty birds out there eating the garbage in the garden. So I mean, if we think of it as if we got 3 inches and a little sunshine to glaze it over, that would give us our trail back. But if we had 6 inches of this and a little wind, our trail would just blow away. I think most of the trail's intact except any surface turned toward the sun or even out of the wind. So a lot of all right, we got the side cover off, and boy was there a lot of water in here. So the next step is going to be pop the flywheel. Looks like there's 3 bolt holes there for a puller. This is face down draining. So what I've found is we got a drain plug on top, a fill plug on top, not sure what we're filling her with, and a drain on the bottom. So if we pull the drain plug, this thing ought to be able to go in and out of water just fine. So literally the only other option I can see would be just take the pull cord off and delete this this hole here. So I guess you could pull it out like that and wrap some tape around it, maybe electrical or duct tape or something. But that's what we got going on. We're going to pull the flywheel now and see what else is happening inside. Alright, it's lunchtime. We got a piece of sheet of paper and kind of got an outline drawn for a puller. So we'll be building that as soon as we've had our lunch. Most of the snow is gone. Four-wheeler's almost warm. So let's go have some lunch and get right back on it. Alright, so it dawned on me I haven't checked for spark yet. So we took the drain plug out of the pan here. So we're going to probably set this somewhere where it can dry. The engine side's actually drying out pretty well. So I put some Lucas heavy duty grease on here. And then we're ready to install the starter drive gear. I wouldn't mind pulling the flywheel just to see some things, but I think it's important that we first check for spark before we rip everything apart. So we're going to install the side cover and get straight to that part. Alright, side cover's on. Here's the key. Gonna give this thing a crank. Alright, now we're getting an occasional spark. So that's a good thing.
That's strange.
Touch me shaka. Don't do it. Alright, almost got murdered. So, okay. A little bit. It's a little bit of an odd one. So, I think we're going to spray this in there. Removes dirt, dust, road grime, blah blah blah. It's going to be one thing that'll be safe for wearing, and I'll be able to get that right in there. Still a bit of frost in it. One thing we might do meanwhile is service this. Doesn't look too bad. I think it might be residual water from. The other thing is getting a hold of this, what's it called? Tube. The tube for the. Well, we're gonna have to reach in there. I can almost get it. Ugh. My hands weren't so big. Anyway, I got a pliers. We'll pull that up here. This is a snorkel. This is a snorkel, and then the airbox one is way up here. So we'll get the breather tube up to here at least. I think might be able to bring it up onto the gas tank too. I like the breather tube higher than the driver's crotch. That way, you know, if you're dumb enough, you know what you've done. So, other than that, I put some pop rivets in here. That's to hold that insert, that nutsert thingy. This is the breather line from that. I just had a piece of hose. I stuck that whole thing on there. Looks like we're getting spark. We're just not getting a lot of spark. So I think it'd be a pretty important idea to take the cover off and put both sides here. There's a lot of hot air blowing in here. Get those nice and clean and dry. Get some of this engine cleaner degrease in there, let it work for a little while, and then I'm just gonna blow it out. Just blow it right out of there with the air hose. I think that's what it said. It said something about safeguard, use the minimum amount of water necessary to rinse. See disposal statement below. Shake well, cover all dirty blah blah blah, wipe over spray, allow to soak 10-15 minutes, brush heavy deposits, rinse with a fine stream of water top down, minimize water areas that cause performance problems. When complete, remove coverings and add any replaced parts. Start and let idle for 15 minutes to ensure drying. So there it is. Get this dried out or unthawed and get it right on there. It probably sprays now. Oh yeah, now it sprays. We got a carburetor that needs a squirting in this too, and gotta get that breather tube pulled up somewhere where we can attach it or at least loop it around. Do all that stuff, try and get her clean, and we'll give it another crack with the spark tester and see if we can get any better spark. Alright guys, we been working on this for several hours after lunch. This flywheel is pretty rusty, but it's pretty clean now. This was all covered in absolute grease and dirt and water and oil and everything that you could possibly imagine could be inside a case like this. But the magnets are nice and clean now. So I didn't have anything really to use to clean this up. So I started with foaming engine cleaner. I had a couple squirts of that. And then this battery cleaner spray. It's like a foaming, I'm pretty sure it's just water and, there it is. Water, LP gas, not spraying eyes or mouth. Alright, well that sounds like a perfectly reasonable idea. So I have a feeling it's water and propane and what's the other thing? Oh, is baking soda. It's got kind of a residue that indicates baking soda. Anyway, so I use that to clean this out. It's still pretty filthy in here, but all the contacts, and I was pretty concerned about this sensor here. Got a rag here that's on thawing. You should be able to reach inside here and give this sensor a wipe. Check it for any damage. All that's still on there pretty well. So I guess our general consensus is that we'll leave the drain open. I really hate the size of this hole. We would have the option of, see if I can find the plug, threw it in here. What if we drilled a hole in the center and put a cotter pin in there? Just a little something to allow the water to drain out. If we really wanted to seal this, we could pull the rope out, put a gob of silicone on it and let it draw it back in. But that's gonna end up getting broken one way or the other, so it's really kind of a rough deal. I mean, the thing of it is if we had a rock of this size come up through the stator and all that, it could absolutely wreak havoc in there. So I am kind of torn. The good news is, or is it good news? I don't think we can even reach in there and take that drain plug out. Presumably, well, I don't think there'll be any rocks in here, so we're gonna go ahead, reassemble everything. Before I go, I could show you guys where the trigger pickup is. This little boss here is the pickup for the timing. So I'm almost less worried about the timing on this as I am the coil. But we can't check anything until we get all this put together. So I guess that's our first step. Alright, our heater's starting to have the hiccups. And I got good news, man. I'm pretty excited. So here's what we got for spark. Well, that's a little odd. Actually, the first crank I did there, it's just golden. I'd imagine I pumped all the gas out of the carb. So to make this work, we need to give it another fuel source. There we go. Be able to just dip the old end right in there. We're gonna It's so odd, man. Let's see if there's even gas coming out of here. Oh, I know what this is. Ha! That's a pulse port. It's the other port that's the gas port. I got hoodwinked. That is funny, man. As soon as I put that on there, she's like, yep, let's go. All right, very good. Well, we know what we need to do. What we should be doing is putting a new fuel valve on this girl, but I don't have one, so I guess we're gonna have to go with the one that worked for us, and that's unfortunately that's not a new fuel valve. So it worked. Actually worked well the way it was set up, so hopefully it'll work well again this time. Wow, that's a great big sigh of friggin' relief. Whew. I had all kinds of bad feelings and premonitions and suspicions and well, I can't lie. I kind of want one of these myself now. All right, I guess we'll smash this girl back together again. Or not. I see a text message. Supper's ready. Man, I feel better about life in general. So basically at this point we just throw her back together again, and then that's our work. So it's time to go back to I'm not even sure what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so the gas tank goes in there, and then the side panels have their little bolts and things where they go, and I'm going to edit this video without having a conclusion to it other than tomorrow we're going to have to put this pile of parts back on. So there's not a lot to explain here, really. All those bits go on there, and this might be an interesting little factoid. Basically, if you're putting boots on stuff like that boot, get your machine warm, get some heat in it. ATVs, actually, I just noticed it works well to just blow air in from behind, and that'll draw all through the engine. This carburetor, all this stuff's actually 100 degrees or more. It's crazy. That's why I just wanted to run like a horse and not stop. So tomorrow we'll just turn the heater around and blow it in the back of there and see what's wrong with that. And then, whew, we need to shake a leg here, bro. Well, we're done with basically done with maple syrup now, so. Well, for now, it's too cold. It's like 10 degrees out there, so. This is actually the week that we're going on our up north vacation, so. I got an old dry rotted tire on a brand new rim with a new valve stem that's way too long. That'll be my spare tire if it comes down to that. So, guys, I want to say goodnight. Thanks for watching, and hit subscribe, whatever, if you like listening to me. I like making videos, so come join the channel. See you guys.